I like that shirt.
You like this?
Yeah. Is that linen?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So one day, I was out and about.
A boot.
I was out in a boot,
Ooh,
and you know, I get these urges. I get these urges. I get these urges. No, I get like an obsession with a thing, right? And I just wanted. It was really hot outside.
Yeah.
I was wearing a t-shirt, and I was like, I want a linen shirt. And I was in Waterford, and I was like, I can't go home till I find a big linen shirt.
Yeah.
An oversized linen shirt. And I was just like, I
Gotta find it.
I gotta do it. So I went to a couple stores, and finally, wouldn't you know it, Old Navy. Sometimes Old Navy comes through.
I thought you were gonna say Tommy Bahama.
Nope. No, because Tommy Bahama and all those old school dad shirt companies,
Yeah.
like Eddie Bauer and
Sure,
stuff,
yeah.
dude, they're expensive.
Oh, yeah.
They're not cheap shirts.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why dads back then were like, this is my going out shirt. Because it cost them like $40, $50 a shirt.
Can only afford one.
Yeah, so it was like, yeah, don't touch my going out shirt.
Yeah.
We're going to Bahama Breeze. I'm using my Tommy Bahama shirt.
That's why your mom got so crestfallen when he got a stain on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that was a lot back
deal.
then. It was not a yeah.
It's an investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And given inflation, who knows?
Oh,
Shirt's probably like $700.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's probably like a luxury brand item.
Linen ain't cheap.
No. I remember my parents had a Ford Explorer, and the seats were made by Eddie Bauer.
Oh, yeah. I remember the Eddie Bauer edition.
Yeah, and I didn't know what that meant. It's just some guy's name etched on the seats. And I was like, what is this? That car got repossessed. What's up, Brewskis? My name is Marco Dupe. That's a true story.
It may be your car now.
We were poor. That is Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
What's up, Brewskis?
He's great and powerful, and you know that.
Thank you.
Tonight's brew is from Playalinda Brewing Co.
Playalinda.
It's the Pleasure Chest IPA. And Obi's going to have a little bit more about this after the break. What's on tap for tonight? Well, I'll tell you what. I forgot.
Well,
I didn't write it down.
We got to get into Wendy's.
Do we have to get into a Wendy's? I think we're both trying to like be a little bit healthier.
No, they're making it easy for us to be healthy because apparently Wendy's is now doing different rates based on, I guess, the surge.
Yeah, they're price surging like Uber.
Yeah, so that's something to talk about. Yeah.
No, I seriously forgot all three.
We have Sora AI.
Yeah.
The latest AI thing that's been going on. And then finally, what do we have? We have one other thing. One more thing.
Oh, Helldivers.
Helldivers. Of course.
All right, we both have been playing Helldivers now. We got a little bit of hands-on experience.
Yep.
We still haven't played together. We need to get a couple of games in.
I would love to.
We need to spread democracy throughout the universe together.
Yes, sir.
And of course, when a game that gets as popular as Helldivers has, Helldivers 2 has in the short amount of time that it has, it just becomes a thing. Toxic people can't help themselves but be toxic in these games, and they come in and they infiltrate, and then you have to deal with that. And so, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Helldivers toxicity
in the city.
You know,
Serge Tankian is like in his 50s?
No, I didn't know that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
No idea.
It's wild.
Yeah.
We need a new System of a Down record.
New system of a down
new system
record.
Of a down of a record. Okay, let's get right into it. This is episode 418 of the One Beer In podcast. Yeah. We'll do that next week.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Lost to be found by someone to save you when you're down. Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out. So bored when it's bright out. 4 to 5 a.m.
All right.
Takes me to
This
a place
is the One Beer In Podcast, the podcast where two brews crack open a brew and we see where that one brew takes us. My name is Marco Dupa. That's Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's get rocking on into the free world, all right? So, Sora.
Nope.
Well, you said it first. That's why I was just going in order of the topics that you brought up.
We've done this 419 times, Marco. I need you to know.
Oh,
I need to talk
I'm sorry.
About the beer
Okay,
first.
all right. I don't know what's going on with me today, man.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
We all have our downtimes. It's all right. Well, anyway, let me please introduce this beer.
Please.
It is the Pleasure Chest, which is a registered trademark IPA. I've never seen that on a beer name, so maybe somebody was trying to get that.
Yeah. Weird because it's not like relax, Playalinda. It's not that clever of a name.
Well, yeah.
Calm down.
There's no cold read on the can, but I was able to look up on Playalinda Brewing Company.com. It comes in at 6.6% ABV. And the cold read goes as follows. Excuse me. Named after our favorite retro 1950s cooler, Pleasure Chest, maybe that's why the register's there.
Oh.
Pleasure Chest is an evolutionary IPA featuring several hop varietals. The resulting beer is bright, tropical, and sure to keep your palate entertained. Pleasure Chest has the bitterness you would expect while maintaining an extremely balanced finish that's bold, juicy, and made for drinking.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I'm assuming the registered is because it's a registered name of a that they must have had a partnership with or something, right?
Yeah, I
You would
guess.
think. Interesting.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Relatively local brew out of Titusville, I think. Yep, Titusville.
All right. Well, there you go. Playalinda Pleasure Chest. We'll talk about that at the end of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
But before we can get there, we have to talk about some other stuff.
Yeah.
So, now can I?
Go on.
Sora.
Kingdom Hearts.
Video AI. Yeah, I thought that was a weird name to pick. All of them are super weird. That's the other thing about this. ChatGPT has like a ring to it.
Sure.
The rest of them,
Even OpenAI, like it makes sense.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah, just do that. You guys are trying to get too clever with these names. Sora is I've seen it written as I've seen it written capitalized, so I'm assuming that it's an acronym.
Yeah.
But a lot of times these things are backronyms, right?
Yeah. Of course.
So they're like, we just wanted to call it that, and then we came up with something to justify.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, it's tech. That comes with the playing field here.
I've always hated that. I've always hated that about tech companies.
Yeah.
Where we're going to call it, Sapphire. Like, what does that mean? Well, it's because it's shiny and new.
We're
It's a
calling it
sapphire.
Toast, but it's just TST.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Speaking of Toast, that actually makes sense. Toast POS systems, because it's for the service industry. That at least makes sense.
Sure. Kinda.
I mean, it's food.
It's food.
You have to be at least a little clever. You can't
guess.
it can't just be,
Yeah.
POS system B.
Sure. Yeah, but what if it's like serve, but it's SRV?
All right, I'm not against that.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
Just workshop it a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway,
We're talking about Sora though.
yeah. Danced around it enough.
The latest, I guess the sort of latest development in OpenAI, which is its main goal is to allow for essentially text to video functionality.
Yeah.
So you're able to type in, I want to see a puppy Dalmatian on the moon.
I thought you were going to say, I want to see a puppy die. I was like, God damn, bro. It's got dark.
No. I mean, you could.
Yeah, I mean, you really could.
You could do that.
Puppy Dalmatian on the moon.
Yes. Puppy Dalmatian on the moon.
How long does it take for it to generate the video?
That's a very good question. I don't know if it is completely up to snuff yet, but there was a demo released that was widely circulated from people saying this is actually pretty good for what it is.
Yeah.
So the one I saw was like of a street view of people like walking somewhere.
Yeah.
And none of it was actually filmed. So, I mean, I think it's just another step in that sort of ever evolving thing that we call AI that we can look forward to kind of messing everything up in the very near future.
I mean, I just want to know, what is the justification, like the practical use of these things? Like how do the developers and people who are behind the scenes on this, how do they justify even the existence of this stuff without sounding like jealous, talentless hacks who like wanted to make movies but didn't have the creativity, but they did have the technical know-how of computing, so they're like, well, I'll just do it this way. I'll just let the machine do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's been a big criticism of AI from the beginning, is like you are stripping a lot of the creativity and the practical creativity out of everything. Writing, filmmaking, music production, everything.
Yeah.
So, it's easy to point to this as just another symptom of that and having the same exact flaws. I think the devil's advocate view of this is, especially from a lot of people who are like super plugged in on this, is that it opens the door to a lot of people who weren't able to, make films, make shorts, make commercials, et cetera, or at least it could, because where it is right now, it's very clearly AI still. We're not in a place where it's flawless, but it's close enough now for you to be like, I see where this is going to go.
I mean, if you're using it as a tool, like I've seen AI used in ways that like, all right, we're going to use this technology to maybe help with procedurally generated things, stuff like that. I'm like, all right, well, that's fine, because like who needs to sit around making 1,000 different like individual trees on a map just to, that's I could see that's something like technology can come in and be like, we'll just make that for you. But the landscape itself, the like, and everything that's in said game, all of that stuff. If you just, I have no sympathy or empathy for anybody who's like, anytime I see it on Twitter where there's some tech bro who's like, what if, I saw one that was like, what if Akira was in portrait mode?
Oh yeah,
you saw that?
I hate those.
And I'm just like, why would you wonder that?
Yeah.
First of all, what do you know how just, I don't even know what you call it at this point, but to be a young person who stares at their phone for 18 hours out of the day, probably more, and your thought is, let's take this classic film, an animated film, and I want to see it in the way that like my brain can only process images now. This is the only way that I can see things.
Finally, I can watch it on my phone.
Yeah,
without doing this.
I just don't.
Yeah, well, I think the main reason why a lot of people are using this technology right now is a lot like Jurassic Park. It's because they can.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, like, it's not very practical at this point for the most part.
Yeah.
It's getting to that point, but I feel like a lot of this stuff is just, because it's the Wild West, I feel like a lot of professionals are actually afraid of using it too much with their stuff, with their actual productions.
Yeah.
Like, college students, sure, they're using AI to like generate their essays and whatnot.
Yeah.
Or at least help with it. That's fine. That may go under the radar for at least a time, but
I don't think. I think that was part of the negotiations with the actors and everything, like their new contracts and stuff. I think part of that with the studios was like, the studios wanted to use AI more, and they were like, fuck no.
Well, I've heard conflicting things about like what was actually agreed upon finally, and a lot of actors are actually still upset about the agreement that was met.
Yeah.
And they felt like they kind of got shafted still. But
well, they probably did.
Probably. Knowing how these things work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But beyond that, I think the central issue with a lot of this AI stuff, other than the fact that it can get to this point where it will be fooling people, genuinely fooling people into thinking it's real, which is kind of the modus operandi for the entire thing. Like, why do it unless you want it to look real, unless you're ultra stylizing something, is that it inherently is pulling from other influences directly.
Yeah.
You know? And I've heard the argument that, I mean, that's the nature of art. You know, you sample things. Every artist samples based on their life, based on the art that they see and enjoy. There are influences, et cetera, but I think there's a very clear distinction between actually copy pasting into something like a literal element from somebody else's work that they actually worked on.
Yeah.
And simply being influenced by somebody else's work.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even if you copied somebody's work word for word, well, I shouldn't say word for word, but like, because that's pretty easy. But let's say, all right, people bring up sampling, for instance. It's one thing to just play the notes that somebody already played, but if you sample and you take something and you turn it into something else, it took know-how to do that.
Sure.
You don't go on the computer and say, put into a prompt, chop this Aretha Franklin sample into a hip hop beat.
Yeah.
And then it spits out DJ Premier.
I mean, AI at this point is I don't think that's even the goal of AI. The goal of AI is to put in, make me a 90s style hip hop beat.
Right.
And then it'll say a lot of producers of that era like to sample Aretha Franklin. Let me grab some of this Aretha Franklin and sample it in a way that is indicative, or let me actually grab the sample that I don't know, Run DMC used.
Yeah.
And that's what it will do.
Yeah.
So it is, those things are not comparable in my opinion. I know a lot of people that defend AI will say, well, there's not much of a difference there, but there's a big difference in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a massive difference, I think. But that's only because, again, it's if you don't have the talent or the ambition or the know-how, you at least have technology at your fingertips that can do it for you.
Yeah.
These fucking people.
Well, I think the goal here is to essentially make everyone a producer.
And that's not how things work.
Yeah.
There is a separation between you and the next person based on intangibles like born, God-given talent, and non-tangible or tangibles, not non-tangibles.
Intangible.
Tangibles like putting the work in, somebody working harder than you. That there is a clear difference between you and the next person. And you shouldn't be rewarded for not working as hard as somebody else on a creative endeavor.
Yeah. Well, I just know from working with a lot of designers and developers and people that read and code fluently, the mantra is, if you can do it easier, you're going to do it that way. So I think that's where this is coming from.
That's just lazy people.
I mean,
don't give these tech people a cop out.
I'm trying
they're just lazy.
I'm trying, but that's the thing is like that laziness drives them to find workarounds to spit something out.
Yeah.
And that works fine if it's like to get a receipt faster, Yeah. That works fine to, make a function work on a website.
Yeah.
But I think once you cross the threshold into creativity in the arts is where you run into some peril.
Yeah.
It's like those things are not the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
They function differently.
Purpose
is different.
I have a friend who told me that he used ChatGPT to create a lesson plan for him. He's not a teacher, so he didn't but he was volunteering and they needed a lesson plan. He was showing them how to do something that he knows how. He was like, it was like a boys and girls thing. And he used ChatGPT to come up with a lesson plan because he's not a teacher. He's a doer. He So he, how does he know how to create a scholastic lesson plan?
Sure.
So he used it for that, and I thought, yeah, I mean that's what you use this technology for, is to make. So to say like the people that you're talking about, yeah, if you can do something like that easier, then sure, that's.
Yeah.
But your job any job that takes, a certain level of creativity, a certain level of manipulating words, a certain level of articulating, and knowing that a person came up with this.
I would like to think a certain level of humanity.
Yeah, I mean that's the difference, and more we're just letting stuff like this just bring those two things closer and closer together to where it's going to be hard to differentiate what's what. And like right now, somebody posts something online, and it's very clearly AI.
Yeah,
and you can see it. And
they've gotten better at fingers. I will say.
And mouths too.
Yeah. Eyes are still a little weird. Mm-hmm. I think there's what's it called? The Uncanny Valley.
Uncanny Valley. There's still a wonkiness to the face that you can tell is like, this is, you can tell at least that like something created this. This isn't photorealistic. It's something's still not right about this. The Uncanny Valley.
Yeah. It's funny because like seeing those things, like, I don't know if it's true for you guys or even you, Marco, but seeing a AI generated person always like freaks me out in like a reptile brain sense.
Yeah.
It makes me feel uncomfortable. There's something truly uncanny about it.
Yeah.
That immediately tips me up. Like, even if I can't point to exactly what it is, my brain knows and goes, there's something wrong there.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Something
that.
ain't right here.
Yeah.
Something ain't right.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know if that will ever be solved, because as human beings, we're very good at finding other human beings and looking at their faces and examining that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We see other people, and we're highly critical of like what that looks like, and we know what it looks like. So I don't know if that's ever going to be solved, at least anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that they are very clearly trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like you said, it's going to be tough to see how they're able to do that, because there's always a certain level of like, there's down in that reptile brain where you're like,
ain't right.
Yeah.
Something's wrong here.
I see it.
I don't like that.
I don't know what I'm looking at, but I know it.
Yeah.
It's not what I'm. It's like anytime you see anything that's not normal, like when you see people move weirdly, and you're like, it's just something's not right about it.
Or like
that.
horror movies where like the monster's arms are a little bit longer than they should be or something, or the face is off somehow, and you're like, I don't like that.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, even like Malignant.
Yeah.
Before the insane like reveal of what is actually going on, the way that the monster moves in the movie, you're like, it's just the
Nasty.
new villain in Dead by Daylight is another one.
Oh yeah.
You saw that?
It's gross.
It's gross. But people, I don't know, man. I mean, we say this, and I think we're giving society a lot of credit because somebody used AI to create promotional work for this Willy Wonka thing.
Yeah.
And people bought it. People bought into the. I don't know if
the
it
fantasy.
was. I don't know if it was the whimsy of the poster, like how like detailed that was, and I don't think people looked at the poster and said,
this is exactly what's going to be.
Yeah.
They promised things that were not there.
Yeah. So it was a scam. These people got taken advantage of. Yeah. But you look at those posters and you're like, oh, this is it's such a Facebook thing. I just don't know how you pay money in advance for something like that. Yeah. You don't know the organization
without seeing real pictures of what it looks like.
Yeah.
I would never do that.
It's crazy, man.
No.
But that's just the molehill, man, of what this mountain could become.
Sure. When
you're using stuff like that, technology like this, to take advantage of people, because that's exactly that's what's going to happen.
I do have faith, though, that it may not be our generation, it may not be the generation after us, but hopefully the generation after that, at very least, is savvy enough to be able to point out, like, let me be a little suspicious about this thing.
Yeah.
Even if it looks real, let me do my due diligence, because I've been duped before. Like, it's going to take extra time to suss out the fake from the real.
Right. So,
whether it takes multiple generations getting burned by, fake news or
fake news,
nothing burgers.
It's fake.
or
It's fake.
getting swindled. What's the other phrase? Horndoggled? Hornswoggled?
I don't know if either one of those.
Something like that. Duped? Yeah. I just think that inherently we're going to figure out, like, you got to be extra careful because this is what's out there now.
Yeah.
So.
I don't have faith.
Okay.
You have more faith than I do. So I think it's just going to be, every generation is going to grow up with the technology getting better and better until the point where it's indistinguishable. And at that point, I hope I'm dead.
But that's the thing is, like, I don't think we're special, but...
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. But even we are suspicious now that these things are coming out.
Yeah.
So I can only hope that there's another line of defense moving forward that's as suspicious, if not more, because they know that the technology is getting better and better. And I do hope that eventually, when our generation ends up being the politicians eventually, we are able to put in some guardrails for this thing to protect people from getting hornswoggled.
The problem is, like, the politicians right now are currently too stupid to understand what's going on.
I think they're mostly just senile. I think they're just not there anymore. Or they're holding on to the power because it's a lifelong job that they secured for themselves.
Yeah. I think they're stupid.
No, too.
But I just mean, I think they're stupid. But I do think that, like, specifically when it comes to technology, you see when they bring in the CEOs and have these hearings, and you're just like, these are our leaders, Now, can you imagine if one of them brought, like, the people who created ChatGPT or OpenAI in to talk about AI and like where it is and where they're going with it, and they're like,
Please describe the internet for me.
we're having some trouble here. My constituents say that you can just put a prompt in there and it'll make whatever you want it to make. Now, my question is, what does that mean? You have 30 seconds to explain.
Can you therefore make money?
Can you make money off of this? And a follow-up question: how do I make money off of this?
How would one make money?
How would one? I'll talk to you after the hearing. Didn't you say that there was something with porn getting into this?
Yeah. So apparently, the Sora technology has started to infiltrate the porn industry. So from what I heard this on I think actually another, no, we don't talk about other podcasts. Nope. I'm sorry. I
heard it
this
in the air.
In the air. I was walking by.
Somebody was talking about it.
I was walking by, the little retention pond outside.
Yep.
And I overheard someone talking about this.
Yeah.
And they said
that happens.
That there was this old school porn producer, right, from the olden days when you had to put them on DVDs.
Right.
And he was out of the business. He got pulled back in because of AI. He had this brilliant idea. He said, why don't we use AI for porn?
Right.
And now that there's this text to video, okay, all right.
This is him. He was sitting in his trailer.
Yeah.
And there's just old playboys and hustlers around him.
Dusty.
Yeah. And they come in and they're just like, Johnny, we need you back.
We got something for you.
We got something. I told myself I wouldn't come back. Not for all the money in the world. Not for the best tits. I wouldn't come back. And they sell him.
I'm back for cum.
Back for cum. Mm-hmm. You telling me we don't even need the women there? We can just, what did you say? Procedurally generate the cum?
You do it on the computer.
You do it on the computer?
It's called a computer.
I'm sorry.
They call it a computer for a reason.
Computer. I get it.
I should have known.
All right, that's it.
Thank you. Yeah, so apparently.
Unless you guys want the buttons to stay down.
You do what you got to do. But yeah, so apparently this guy.
I'm gonna keep the sunglasses on though.
and others have been looking into using this sort of technology or technology similar to it to not now, but in the future, enable users to essentially generate their perfect partner and have them do exactly what they want them to do.
Man.
So, you know, we are essentially edging into... No, I shouldn't say edging. We are walking to the edge of like Blade Runner, you know? Like,
Pretty much, yeah.
It's almost there. It's almost there. So,
I mean, there's like this video, the text to video stuff, Sora. It's already where people are like experimenting with it and being like, you know, in a few years, what if you wanted to watch Goodfellas, but you wanted to have, you know, Brad Pitt in it instead,
yeah.
And then you can just do that. You can just prompt it to do that, and you're like, and but the problem is like, I could see from a video game perspective, or even like a voyeuristic perspective of like porn, as long as it's not endangering actual people,
or like promoting anything illegal.
Yeah. And even with this movie prompt thing, like if you want to do it in your own home and you want to watch some made up thing because you
can,
but that's the thing, man. And I talk about this a lot. I talk about this a lot at work, and I talk about this just in my personal life. People, they want to curate an experience. They want to curate their lives. Everything is about curating your experience around what you want 24/7, 365. So whether it's social media, basically curating your experience. So when you watch, you know what? I'll say this on here.
Okay.
Because I forgot about this and it pissed me the fuck off. I missed the NPR Tiny Desk sign up this year.
Oh.
And I was gonna say that, oh man, I don't follow NPR. I don't keep up with I don't go to like NPR.com. I don't keep up with them. So maybe it's my fault. No, it's not my fault. I follow NPR Music, NPR Flagship, and the Tiny Desk page on Instagram.
Yeah.
And for weeks they have been advertising this. For weeks. But because I don't like go to the page, I didn't see it.
Your algorithm was like, he doesn't need to see that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me because I entered the contest last year. I hashtagged it. I was a part of it.
Yeah.
How in the world could I not see that thing? I don't follow. I mean, I follow, you know, a couple hundred pages. When you go on there, it's like you can look at your follower count and you can look at like the most viewed in your feed and the least interacted with.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh. I'll show it to you. But
okay.
And it's like, why it tells you like, listen, these are the pages that we put in front of you, and these are the pages that we continue to put in front of you. So it's like, all right, if you are going to continue showing me the same shit, how am I ever going to discover anything else? But then you're like, but this is what you wanted to see because you looked at it once. And I'm like, okay, I looked at it one time. You think that I want to see the same 50 pages every single day?
Yeah.
But then they're like, well, you didn't go out and search for it or anything. You didn't. So I'm like, it's on you to like continue. I want to like with Spotify and stuff. I want to stop liking songs. I want to actually downvote songs so that they keep going. Oh, maybe you didn't like that. Maybe you didn't like that. Until you get to the bottom of the fucking barrel and they're like, well, what do you like? And it's like, yeah, exactly. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't fucking know.
You don't have it.
I'm just trying to listen to shit. I don't want you telling me what I need to listen to or what I should listen to. So, yeah, if you're curating your own experience in your own home, that's fine. Like, I'm not gonna tell two consenting adults or even just one person what they can do in the privacy of their own home. The problem is when you start pushing this shit out to me. So when people, you know, walk around, like when you go to like a coffee shop and you're like, you don't have my favorite coffee here, and it's like, I don't know you. We have what we have. If you don't like it, then you can make your own coffee.
Right,
You can go
right.
home and make your favorite coffee all you want. But you don't get to come in here and tell me I have to make your favorite coffee.
Right.
Fuck you.
Well, I think a lot of people nowadays, unfortunately, expect businesses and people to tailor to them when it's really the other way around.
Yeah.
And it always has been.
Yeah. Well, it's because we have years and years done this customers always right thing.
Yeah.
So now everybody, the general public, not everyone, the general public, I see it with my own eyes. It's you talk to individuals and you're like, oh, well, you're not an insane person, but the general public is insane. It's like that scene in Men in Black, one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah.
I might actually find that on the Criterion Collection. See if they have that. That'd be sick.
I wish they had one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got the Steelbook, by the way. So
Hell yeah.
back when Best Buy still sold.
Rest in peace to Best Buy's
physical media.
Rose collection. There's a scene in the movie where Jay asks Kay, why don't you just tell people? They can handle it. People are smart. And Kay says, a person is smart.
Mm-hmm.
People are dumb, panicky, and you know it. They couldn't handle this information. And that's exactly right. If you talk to a person and you go, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
They go, I fucked up. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
You're right. That was insane of me to do that.
Yeah.
But if it's a group of people, then everybody else looks around and they go, you know what? Yeah, we should be shitty. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to bring this all back around, that's what's happening with this AI stuff. Is like I'm just if these creators don't do what I want, then I'll just create it for myself. And it's like, all right, listen, you got the right idea, Bucko. Now just take that idea and keep going with that. Walk a little bit further.
You're almost there.
Yeah.
You're almost there.
If you want something, you go out and you make that thing. Go out and make that thing. You lazy bastards.
Yeah.
But that's we can't. That's
Well,
where it's going. So,
And
are
I
you
do
gonna do?
think, to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, think it's important to remember that there is something in the effort you put into something, right? Like the blood, sweat, and tears. It has a real effect on your work, especially something creative.
You would think.
So, I mean, sometimes artists try really hard and it turns out like crap. But I don't think there's ever been a time where somebody is. I mean, I'm sure there has been at least one time, but 9 times out of 10, there's not something of quality that didn't take some level of care, attention, effort, blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah. No, I'm saying the people who don't understand that, they're the ones who are missing that idea.
Yeah.
It's like this whole thing is it's important. The work that you put in, the struggles, it's important. So, and that's what you guys don't. But they don't want to struggle. They don't want to. And I see it. Sometimes you go on these Twitter threads and people are like, AI art is bad for art, and then the people who do AI art, they're like,
Shut up, old man.
They're like, I tried to be an artist that just wasn't very good. And it's like, well, yeah, move on to the next thing. You weren't good at it.
Sure, find your thing.
Yeah, just find your thing. It doesn't have to be this thing. Well, I tried to learn how to draw for 3 months. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's the same. That's the same.
Why don't you keep doing that?
Yeah.
Just keep working on it.
No,
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to solve AI here.
not today. We will soon, though. You can count on the One Beer In podcast to solve AI. Believe us. Would we make promises that we couldn't keep?
Never.
Never.
Would never do that.
Never. All right.
Yeah. What else we got? What else we got on tap?
I didn't write it down again.
Well, let's talk about Helldivers 2.
Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
Helldivers 2. So we've finally got our hands on it a little bit. I mean, it was my cheers of the week, I think, last week.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: my experience, I haven't experienced anybody being weird or toxic or mean on the game.
I told you I had a guy that bullied me into giving him my machine gun.
Yeah, you did tell me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which again is Get that?
I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
He just ran up to me and started going, poof, gun butting me.
I said you should have shot him when you said it, and I still believe you should have shot him.
We were on a good roll. We had like 2 missions down.
He'll come back.
It was a good time.
I saw one video where a guy was like, he had a big missile in his hands, and you put one of the objectives is like you load up the silo.
Yeah, the artillery gun or
And
whatever.
he kept like getting in the guy's way until he finally dropped it. and then the guy picked it up, and he goes, and the voice lines are so funny because it's like he drops it and he's like, I dropped the missile or the ammunition, and then he picks it up, and the other guy picks it up, he's like, I've got the ammunition. And he starts walking, and then poof, he just kills him.
Just domed him.
So that shit is funny.
Yeah.
What's not funny is getting to the end of the game and you're all on the dropship ready to leave the map, and then one guy sits outside and kills everyone.
Yeah.
That's not cool. The cheating in the game, all this stuff. It seems like, and again, it's going back to just the general public. I used to think that when people said things like, I don't have any faith in humanity, or I don't like people, I used to think like, don't be so dramatic, you know?
Who are you talking to?
People, I mean, misanthropes.
Yeah. Get a lot of those at the brewery. Huh?
I just mean in general, like, I remember this very clearly. People in high school used to say that a lot. Like, I hate people. And I'm like, how can you hate people?
Sure.
But maybe they just were on the cutting edge. Maybe
they had seen enough stuff.
Yeah, maybe I was the one who was behind on all this because
they said you'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Because I am starting to see.
Give it about 15 years.
Starting to see like, maybe I just didn't have to interact with as many people, so I thought like, well, all the people in my immediate circle are fine. Why? What could you hate people for?
I will say you are more outgoing than the average bear. So
yeah,
I think that helps.
Yeah,
because as someone who grew up with crippling anxiety, especially social anxiety, I kind of was more on that side. I didn't think people were inherently bad, but I did think that people could definitely be shitty, and we're shitty kind of more often than not.
Yeah, and that's true. They are.
Yeah,
and here we are,
especially in high school. Ugh.
Yeah.
Middle school is even worse.
Yeah.
Things get better in college, though, kids.
Yeah.
Stay in school.
Yeah.
Don't
the
drink
drugs
beer.
get better.
The drugs get better. The beer gets better. That's where you'll find craft beer and become like us.
And, right?
One of us.
And don't you want to be like us?
One of us. Yummy.
I've seen a lot of people saying that, like, oh no, the Destiny players found Helldivers.
Yeah.
And that stems from people just being, players just getting toxic. And that was one of the things that the developers of Helldivers 2, they've been asked about a multiplayer mode or a PvP.
Yeah, player versus player, if you're not familiar.
And they have categorically said, no, we're not going to do a PvP mode. It is going to remain PvE or or player versus everyone, or player versus enemies, player versus environment, however you want to.
Yeah.
And they said we're going to keep it PvE forever because that will cut down on the toxicity of the community, and it will also make people work together. This is a fight for democracy, and we're all fighting together.
Right.
And there are some players who have said, we'll see about that. And there's one guy, I don't remember his game.
Nice.
Sorry about that, guys.
Man down.
There is a player who has gone viral, and I don't remember his gamer tag. It's Gantz something. I'm sorry. I mean, I shouldn't really raise his profile, so we're not going to look up his gamer tag, but it's he went viral for being one of the first people to, like, take being toxic in Helldivers seriously. Like, being, griefing in the game, trying to turn the round into basically a PvP game by killing people over and over and over again.
Just being a professional a-hole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the same stuff that you see in every game where people have enough freedom to just... I hate this, but I do believe that they should just take friendly fire off. Friendly fire in the game. Let me just explain my position. I love friendly fire being in a game because it makes you more careful.
Sure.
It makes it more realistic.
And
it makes it more immersive, and it's funny.
It's really funny in this game.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where I've played with people and on accident, like I've walked in front of them shooting, or they've walked. Yeah, and it's hilarious, and it's like, my bad, dude.
Yeah.
You obviously know I didn't mean to do that. But you got to be careful, and you do got to be careful.
Yeah.
You have to think about your movements. Dude, if I'm spraying into a crowd of automatons and you walk in front of you should be punished for being that careless.
Sure.
You should. And if I throw a bomb in the middle of a crowd and you're there, you should be punished for that.
Yeah.
On the flip side, you get people like this guy and like anybody who wants to jump in the game and just ruin it for people, and it's like, well, now you're taking advantage of this thing. And
yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I feel like there's already an inherent thing built into it, which is the kick button. If someone's being a jerk,
sure,
kick them out.
Sure, but I think that the developers need to go a step. Thank you.
There, yeah.
I think the developers need to go a step further.
Okay.
I think, and this isn't an original thought. I mean, it is a thought that I thought was original until I saw other people saying it. So I thought it was original. But there needs to be some kind of like reputation system, like there is in other games where,
that'd be good.
If you continue to do that shit, your reputation goes down, and then people can see like, oh, this guy's an asshole. We're gonna kick him immediately. I'm not gonna play with this guy.
Yeah.
And there's other games where they'll put you in servers of other dickheads. So like, okay, if you want to play this way, you and the other pieces of shit can be in this server playing this way.
Right.
We'll just match you guys together, so people with low reputation can match with other low rep players, and you guys can all ignore the objectives, and you can play the game the way you want to play it. Again, curate your experience. These guys, these artists, these developers, these big brain people who made this experience for you, they created this thing, and you just couldn't be happy with that. So fine, you want to curate your own experience?
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
Have fun.
But there should be a reputation system.
Yeah. I agree with that. I don't think that they should ever completely turn off friendly fire, because I think it's so inherently important to the game itself.
Yeah.
Like it makes Helldivers kind of what it is.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but I don't know.
And I hate to give power to people playing this way. I hate to empower
the worst among us,
but it's always the worst among us who get power,
who mess it up for everyone,
because everyone else is like, we all just kind of lay down and go, all right, well, I'll lay down and let this person walk on me, and then once they're done walking on me and they're on the other side of the road, at least now I can not be bothered. And more people should stand up and say, you're not going to walk on me. You know what? You're going to find another way across the road, or you're going to walk across the road like the rest of us are going to walk
fine,
across this road.
I won't give up my machine gun next time, Marco.
I'm just saying. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again.
Yeah. I will say I haven't had any bad experiences playing the game.
No, I haven't either.
It's been all fun and games, and I think the vast majority of people in this community of Helldivers 2 are out there for the right reasons and having a good time. So, I think it's a little limiting for them to say, the developers, to say that they're never going to do PvP, because it would be too toxic. I think give people the option,
I disagree.
Like, why not? Just make it on a certain planet, or on every planet, there's like couple of spots where you're able to play PvP. Why not? It's additive. I don't think it takes anything away from the real game.
If they have, but then here's the thing: the game was already only $40.
Sure.
So if you want to do a PvP mode, that's a whole new mode of the game.
And they've committed to making all the DLC like free, essentially.
Yeah.
All
the stuff that's in the game, like it's a really full game. Like I'm playing it now, and I'm feeling like,
it's definitely worth $40.
Yeah, exactly.
And sure, they've been criticized for having more than just cosmetics for purchase, but I mean,
that is a problem.
But playing a couple hours will give you enough money or whatnot to be able to buy some stuff that you want.
Well, and also again, as long as it's not PvP,
it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just play it longer, and you'll get that stuff.
Play more, loser.
Yeah, exactly.
Get good.
Like, NBA 2K, for instance, was really good when you could just play the game and level your player up. Now that people immediately buy the stats and then go straight into the online like 3-on-3 shit.
Maybe the worst online community.
Yeah.
Like second, maybe only to like Call of Duty.
Yeah,
it's like
it's
the
definitely
worst.
top 5. They're terrible.
Ugh.
I'd say the Call of Duty environment's probably, though honestly, Overwatch. In my personal experience, the Overwatch community is probably the worst.
I wouldn't know.
As far as toxicity, as far as toxicity is concerned, as far as the negativity, dude, you immediately, the game starts and you're like, don't pick that character. Why'd you pick? Like, what are you doing? Before they even know how good you are at the game, before they even know what you plan on doing, the minute you pick a character that somebody doesn't want you to play, it's over with. And they'll shut down. They'll stop moving the cart. They'll start fucking off in another area.
Annoying.
People, and I see it all the time.
Just play the game.
And if you pick a character and they're like, okay, cool, you're gonna be our DPS, and then you have like 1 or 2 lives where you don't play that well. They're like, switch off. And it's like, no, man, give me a chance. They're like, fuck you, switch off. And it's like, I don't want to play with you guys. You're making me feel so bad about myself.
Is this the bear?
Exactly. So I'd say Overwatch is probably the most toxic fan base that I've ever played with. I'd say, with Destiny, I always played with people that I knew, so I never had issues with, like, I never played with randos because I always thought that was randos are so weird on Destiny.
You kind of can't when you're getting into those more serious missions and stuff.
Well, some of them take so long that it's like, Jesus Christ.
I'm not going to spend like 3 hours with a rando.
Exactly. It's just like, I mean, a literal stranger.
Yeah.
Just pops into your game and they're like, do you want to do this raid with me? And I'm like, ugh, God. Get away from me, you weirdo.
I don't think I do.
Get some friends, loser. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But I mean, I've obviously have heard that the Destiny fan base.
Well, and
it's such a
dedicated
tight-knit
fan base. Yeah, tight knit. Smaller now. That we're left again with like the zealots of the fan base. So.
It's always so funny when I see that though, stuff like that where a fan base becomes so when it shrinks, then it becomes it's like when the colors start to deepen because it's a smaller spot, right?
Yeah.
Instead of spreading it out over an entire blanket, it's like just a portion of the blanket, so the color's so deep.
It's absorbed.
Yeah, and that's how these fan bases get when like the game, quote unquote, dies, and it's just the players who have stuck with
it's like
it.
a black hole. That just...
First of all, I can't imagine sticking with a game that long. But GTA Online is another one where you jump into that game and you go, oh, I'm gonna have some fun, and immediately people are like,
I like
fresh meat. Fresh meat.
That's the thing I was about to say. Is like I love seeing streamers and whenever somebody in one of those communities, whenever someone new comes in, they can tell. They go, we have meat on level 3. Go ahead and take them out. And they just know they're just going to... They have like the God hand. And they're just going to raise them,
So funny, man. I mean, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. And that's why when we talked about GTA 6... I think we talked about it when the trailer came out. That like I hope
just drop a nuke on all of GTA Online. Start fresh
and call it a day. Yeah, it's over. You want to keep those servers going because they're obviously making millions of dollars,
and they will continue to.
Yeah,
even after GTA 6 is out, I guarantee it.
Right. So keep all that shit alive.
Yeah.
But let me jump into GTA 6, new, fresh.
Yeah.
I want everyone as newborn babies.
Yep.
Because if you put us in with the guys who have jetpacks and rocket launchers, you are asking for people to just be like, nah, I'm not playing this. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a disaster. So, I don't know how Sora got us to GTA 6, but We're here now, baby.
No, we were talking about the Helldivers.
I was getting. Oh, Helldivers got us to GTA 6. Yeah, sorry.
That makes more
Yeah,
sense.
no, it makes way more sense now.
Makes more sense.
Way more sense.
We had one more thing. One more thing.
One more thing.
What else was it? What else were we talking about?
Helldivers.
Can you tell us?
Sora. Yeah, I wish this was like a live.
Oh, if we had a chat? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Chat GPT. I mean.
Oh, not one of those.
Yeah.
Real chat.
Sora. Helldivers.
Sora, Helldivers.
You don't have an article pulled up?
I don't. That's the thing. Is I don't have the third one up.
People who've listened to this from the start to now are going crazy.
How about this? We'll pause, and you in editing will pause us, freeze frame us here, and right here, we'll play what we said we were going to talk about.
Okay.
And while we do that, we can actually watch what we said we were going to talk about.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So freeze right here.
I forgot. I didn't write it down.
We got to get into Wendy's. Yeah, so it was Wendy's. We forgot about Wendy's.
We forgot about Wendy's.
Wendy's.
And you forgot about Wendy's.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
I'll say this. This news really devastates me in particular. I don't know how you feel about this on a personal matter, but for me,
I'm a Wendy's head.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't eat in any other fast food restaurant, really. At this point, I've kind of cut them all out. I kind of cut out fast food, period. Okay, I will say this. I have had more Taco Bell in the past, year.
I was going to say, yeah. Taco Bell might be the other one.
Yeah. But if I'm going for, I don't even get burgers. I get the spicy chicken sandwich.
course.
I have the one order. Number 6, spicy chicken sandwich, medium fry, natural lemonade. Sometimes I'll do the strawberry lemonade, but usually just a natural lemonade.
I'm more of a
And that's
strawberry
it.
lemonade guy.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. When they started, let me tell you something. People, this to me is not even like a discussion. I think Wendy's, if you're doing the top 3 fight, McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's.
Oh.
I think Wendy's clears both of them easily.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's a competition.
The only claim McDonald's has is the fries, in my opinion.
But even their fries, I will say on their best day,
Yeah.
are probably the best fries.
Yeah.
The problem is they're so inconsistent from place to place, and that's
true.
not McDonald's'
true.
fault. I mean, it's kind of McDonald's' fault because it's like, yo, you need to be fucking clamping down on the fries. I've made those fries. I worked at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if you got a newbie on the fries, which is what they usually do, you start on fries and
Makes
then
sense,
you move
yeah.
your way around each spot.
You
but
do these.
yeah, and they have like a thing that you scoop the fries in and boop, it perfectly fits in the bag.
Yep.
If you have a newbie on those fries, you're getting dog shit fries.
Yeah.
Somebody who's never cooked before, some fucking 15-year-old who doesn't understand, you're getting dog shit fries.
It's their first job.
And I think Burger King has outright the worst fries ever made.
Worst
fries.
Worst fries.
I don't even understand how they're still selling those things.
They shouldn't be. Well, that's why they're selling the chicken fries, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, so you know your fries are bad, and you're creating a new product.
I just don't know how you you keep, for my lifetime, Burger King has made the worst fries on the planet.
Yep.
Wendy's had terrible fries for a while there.
Yeah.
And you know what they did? They said, let's get back to the lab.
Yep.
Let's figure it out.
Yep.
And you know what? They did.
Yep.
The new fries are great.
They're great.
They're really good.
They're great. And I will say this, they're more consistent.
Yes, they are. They are.
I can't remember the last time that I've gone to a Wendy's and left the drive-thru going like, man, this sucks. I can tell you almost to the day the last time I went to a Burger King and how bad that experience was.
I never get fries at Burger King. Never,
No. I
never,
just
never,
mean
never.
point blank, just the whole
Overall,
meal. Just
overall,
the whole. I've told you
yeah.
the story before about the chicken sandwich and like how.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I've told you guys.
You went back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went back because it was so horrendously bad. I'll just give you the cliff notes. I went through the drive-thru. I was in an area I wasn't familiar with. There was a Burger King. I was hungry.
Yeah.
I get their chicken sandwich, chicken the fried chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
Not the long guy, because that
the long boy.
Yeah, that piece of shit sandwich. I don't understand how anybody eats that fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me that you are okay with them rolling out chicken and going like, chicken should be this long.
You can almost see it in a plant going.
It's disturbing. I hate just the way that it looks. It's so fucked up. So I don't eat that one, but they do have a different chicken sandwich that's more of a traditional, just like chicken patty, and they put like a little hot sauce on it or whatever. It's like their answer to the McDonald's spicy McChicken, which is, for my money, the greatest sandwich of all time. I get this sandwich. I'm rolling out, and y'all know me, still same OG. I eat in the car while I'm going to wherever I'm going. I pull it out. I take one bite of it.
What do you pull out?
The chicken sandwich, not the fries.
Yes.
I don't even think I got fries, honestly, because I'm just like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I whipped it out. I whipped out the sandwich.
Yeah.
Took one bite.
I thought you were still the porn producer for a second.
I got to put the glasses back.
That's true,
on.
yeah.
I whipped it out. My fat chicken sandwich.
Chicken sandwich.
It's a long chicken sandwich. It's
a long
12
boy.
inches of chicken sandwich.
It's a little spicy.
I whipped it out. And I tell you, I mean, you didn't need AI for this.
Extra mayo.
And I took one bite. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
I could tell, because I worked in fast food for years, that it was...
If you know, you know.
It was an old patty. I knew that what they were doing, they had like switched over to a bunch of new patties. They probably fried up a bunch. They had one more, and they were like, should we toss this? This guy's in the drive-thru. We'll just give it to
give it to this idiot. You'll eat anything. I can tell.
I mean, I never gave anybody anything maliciously. It was just like, let's hope that he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Really?
It may work out for us.
Yeah.
Which is so dumb, because why not just wait?
Yeah.
Just wait for the other one.
Just wait for the other ones.
Just tell them, hey, look, we have a fresh batch coming out right now. Give me one more minute.
Yeah. It's always going to be 10 times better.
Yeah.
I mean, people have this misconception that like fast food is made by a bunch of like idiots who don't care and like dirty your food, and it's like
other than like garbage people. Like, I think fast food workers are the most crapped upon of our entire society.
Yeah. And it's unfair, because most of the time it is people who don't really know what they're doing in the beginning. But once you get good at working at one of those places, you get really good. And not to say, I can't say if any of them take pride in their work, but I can say that McDonald's and all of these fast food places, they put... Their shit is down to such a science that like it's really hard for you to fuck it up unless you're doing it on purpose. So that person, if you got bad food from somewhere, you got bad food from a guy who was being a piece of shit anyway.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the quality of food. It has everything to do with the fact that you encountered a bad person.
Right.
So I go back through the drive-thru and I'm like, hey man, this is unacceptable. I felt like a boomer, but I was like, I'm not gonna eat this, and I'm close enough to turn around, and I'm hungry enough to be angry about this. Yeah. So I was like, "Listen, man," and I showed it to him. I'm like, "Look at this. This is unacceptable, bro. Like, are you kidding me? I look at this."
Yeah.
And he's like, "My bad, bro. I'll get you a fresh one." Like, to him, it's like, I don't care, man. Like, I know that he had just dropped a bunch of fresh patties because he gave me the sandwich like that.
Yeah, of course.
So he gave, and that's how I know
it was ready now.
He gave me the old piece of shit one, and they had just dropped a bunch of fresh ones.
Yeah, he thought you couldn't tell, or that you wouldn't be so mad that you come back.
Right.
Yeah.
So all that to say, Burger King is the worst. Easily.
I agree. I do think that their burgers are pretty good, though.
Yeah.
I do like the flame broil flavor. I do like that.
I agree. And that if they just did everything, if they just improve those fries and improve their like, they need a new CEO to come in and be like, yo, we're going to whip this shit into shape, because we're getting our asses kicked by McDonald's, by Burger King, or Wendy's, by Taco Bell. Taco Bell is always getting creative. They're getting people like fucking who was the football player that they got? They got some football player to be in their maybe it was Tyreek Hill. I don't remember who it was.
They got a Portugal the Man.
Yeah.
To be on their commercials.
They're like, they got Turnstile to be in one of their commercials.
Yeah.
Like they're They're like, listen,
we have our finger on the pulse.
exactly.
We know what you want.
And Burger King is.
And they had that entire like the Apple reveal of their new product.
Oh yeah,
incredible!
They had some guy out there just
Incredible.
like, dude,
It
that's
was hilarious.
That's how you do it, man. Burger King is like, well, we'll just wheel back out the chicken fries, and it's like, you piece of shit. You don't even wheel out the shit that people want, because I want the fucking French toast sticks, and they don't bring them back, and it's like, what is even the point of you existing?
I have like a dream state memory of being in high school and getting those at like 6 a.m. and just dunking my way to some semblance of awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say Burger King does like a really good croissant breakfast sandwich.
Oh,
their
yeah.
croissant sandwich.
Well,
that's what they call it. Croissant.
I've heard incredible things about Wendy's new breakfast menu.
I've never had Wendy's.
I haven't
breakfast
either,
menu.
but everyone who I've talked to who's had it says it is like the best.
I'm not surprised.
Right, exactly. That just goes to prove Wendy's is, pretty much top dog.
And all this to say, why Wendy's? Why? Why? When your rep is as good as it's been in at least the past 20 years.
Why would you tarnish yourself like
why?
this? Yeah.
So Wendy's is trying out this new pricing, and honestly, dude, I think that with the news hitting today, as of this recording, I think that they might about face on
I think
this
so
one.
too. I think so too. And
it's been a resounding failure.
It's a bad way to go. Unless you're only making it cheaper, people are not going to be happy.
No, and they already even say in the press release that like they are going to surge prices for the more popular in-demand burgers. So it's like at lunchtime, and somebody made a joke, and I'm sure 1,000 people made the same joke, but it was like, it's lunchtime. Where am I going to go? The place that makes the more popular sandwiches more expensive during lunchtime, or am I going to go literally anywhere else?
Yeah.
It's an insane thing to think that you can get away with charging people more money at the times that they want to eat.
Us hoes ain't loyal. There are too many other options.
Fuck no.
Too many better options.
Dude, and if you're going to surge your... Here's the thing.
Here's the deal, man. You're
going to surge your prices to the point that there's no difference between you and, say, a fast casual place like Five Guys, for instance.
Yeah.
If I'm already spending that much money...
Oh, Five Guys every day.
Exactly. I'm bumping it up.
Yeah.
You want to force me to spend more money on my burger... Then I'm eating at Smash Burger, or I'm eating at BurgerFi, or I'm eating at Five Guys. Five Guys is the best.
And look, if you don't have that money, what are you going to do? You're going to go to McDonald's.
You're going to go to McDonald's.
Why
You're
not?
going to go to their competitor.
Why not?
I bet you every other fast food place was like,
yeah. Go ahead. Yes, exactly.
Insane. So
resounding from the One Beer and Podcast.
Like I said, as of this recording, that's what their plan is. I really, really, truly believe by the week or maybe 2 weeks, they'll probably put out some release where they're like,
Sorry.
we listened. We're always listening.
They'll put out a notes app.
Yeah. Notes app apology.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We heard you.
I can't imagine this going well.
No.
And I really don't see... I couldn't... I mean, I typically don't go to... It's typically a late night meal for me.
Yeah.
So
I think most people our age have aged out of the fast food cycle.
Yeah.
Just out of necessity.
Yeah. I don't know anybody who's my age who it's like 12 o'clock and they go to Wendy's and like sit down in a Wendy's, open up the bag, and they're like, I'm going to enjoy my little burger while I'm here. It's like, it's necessity when it's like, it's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And you're like, I need to sober up. Let me get a sandwich.
Yeah. It is... I think definitely out of necessity and convenience. That's the only time I ever go for fast food. Is like if I need to.
Yeah. So I guess really the end of this is like, hey, Burger King, this is your time.
Please.
This is the
step
moment.
up. We want you to succeed.
Yeah.
Your burgers are pretty good.
And Wendy's is begging you to take their spot. Begging you.
Yeah. If they came out with some at least like half decent fries and better chicken sandwiches. Are you kidding me? Get rid of the long boys. Come on, man.
All right. Yeah.
We have an Oppenheimer date, so we have to
We got to wrap this baby up.
Get this baby rolling.
So, Obi, do you have a cheers of the week?
My cheers of the week goes to the animated original Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, okay.
Sherry and I this weekend are going to be going to New York City to see the composer and the live composition of the themes of Avatar: The Last Airbender, of the animated show. Very excited about it. And to prep for that, Sherry has let me watch the entire series in about a week. Rewatch, I should say. I've seen it before.
Yeah.
Of course. But rewatching it as an adult, it is one of those animated series that holds up. And I think it's like one of those things I think is like made for me because I grew up loving like martial arts films and loving cartoons. So like mashing those things together, I mean, and giving it such reverence and such a clear like deep lore, I think really like even as an adult seeing how deep the lore is within the world, they clearly were paying it the attention it deserved, and I think that's really why it continues to be a franchise that adults love, you know, and it's accessible for kids. I think in rewatching it, I've now seen how much even more so it is such a good vehicle for kids to get into martial arts.
Yeah.
And to get into that kind of like language of cinema. Yeah. I think it's great. I think it's something that you can share with your kids if you're, you know, if you got like a 6-7 year old. I mean, I think it's the perfect thing to get them on that wavelength of like, let's watch a Jackie Chan movie after this. How about that? Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's great.
The different nations, the writers said that like they're based in actual martial arts disciplines,
and you
like
can
wushu,
tell
kung fu, and real karate. And
you can definitely tell. All of them feel different. All of the nations have their own specific like flavors and stuff, and I love that kind of world building that they've done. And I bought Sherry the Kyoshi novels. Yeah. So I'd like to read those and like get a little bit more into like the world. And there's apparently next year going to be a movie about the original team. Yeah. In their like late 20s, early 30s. So I'm like, I'm in, man. Let's watch it.
That's right. Good. Good. I mean, I know you were always a fan, but going back and doing the rewatch, I did the rewatch recently. I mean, I watched it. I'm like Sherry. I watched it on Nickelodeon week after week. I was really, when I heard about it, I was still watching cartoons. Probably too late.
It's never too late.
So I was watching Avatar when it came out week after week, and I thought, I can't believe that every single episode I've ever seen of this show is good. Yeah. I think it's a perfect show.
It is. It is fantastic, especially given what their budget was, given their limitations in Nickelodeon. Yeah. I think the first season clearly suffers from lack of budget. The animation's kind of choppy and like it's not as good as it ended up being by like the third season. Yeah. And you have two different studios making the animation, so it's very clear when like somebody else is animating it, which is kind of jarring. But by the end of it, I mean like it's just so good. It becomes so epic and like you really attach these complex characters. Yeah. It's great. I think it is by far, I think, my favorite kids animated show. Yeah. So that's mine.
Beautiful. My cheers of the week is going to the road to WrestleMania. So typically around WrestleMania season, the last couple of pay-per-views are considered like the road to WrestleMania. And you start to get the main event picture starts to kind of crystallize. You kind of see like, okay, these are the stories that they're going with, and these are the characters that are building.
Yeah, who's in, who's out,
right? And like, who's going to main event WrestleMania? Who's going to be on the undercard? Who's going to open the show? All this stuff.
It's a 2-day event this year, right?
I believe so. I mean,
so.
they've been doing WrestleMania. Yes, it is 2 nights. It's 2 nights. It's definitely 2 nights because they were talking about like who's going to main event one Saturday and who's going to main event Sunday. They started
like a
doing
music
that.
festival.
Yeah, exactly. They started doing that a couple years ago. Obviously, post when I went because I only went for the night. That was years ago. But they started, doing this like 2-night event thing. And it's because they have so much talent that they have to showcase.
Spread it out.
It's a showcase of the immortals. So they have to showcase all the talent that they got, right? So the road to WrestleMania, I mean, WrestleMania, the event, pretty much always, obviously a handful of years aside, pretty much the culmination of the wrestling year.
Cream of the crop.
And it's amazing. And it's always a good event. But the road to WrestleMania is also really fun. I mean, you had the Royal Rumble, which was really fun to watch.
Yep.
You had the Elimination Chamber was just this past week. And
in Australia at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, so I
Eastern
definitely
Standard
did not
Time.
watch it live.
Yeah.
But it's really just, I guess it's not really even the events themselves. It's the spirit of the road to WrestleMania.
It's like the 12 nights of Christmas.
Exactly. You're anticipating something big, and each one of those nights, you're just getting a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it's just really exciting, and it's all the more meaningful. Stuff that happens like in the middle of the year, it's kind of like, well, the title's changing hands and this guy's doing this, blah, 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 blah. But when you get, like, this is when everyone's like, hey, man, WrestleMania is in a month.
Real.
Like, we need to figure this the fuck out.
The shuffle is kind of over. Everything's settling into place.
Yeah.
You see the pieces coming together.
Yeah. And although The Rock came in and kind of tried to take a spot from somebody, I think the fans spoke up.
Yeah, they certainly did.
And The Rock was smart enough to put his ego aside and say, you know what would be smarter is if I went with what the fans are saying. And it looks like right now that we are getting the best of both worlds. We're getting mainstream media to report on wrestling because of The Rock's involvement. And we're also getting a smart, well played out, well written story.
Yes.
Which is always, I've said it before, pro wrestling is peak entertainment when the athletes are good, the wrestling's good, and the writing is good. When all those things coalesce, you get to me one of the most unsurpassed forms of entertainment.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The drama is real, and then these guys get in the ring and they actually put on a good match, and you're just like, I don't know how I could be more satisfied. This was amazing.
Yeah.
So this has been a really, really fun road to WrestleMania, and I can't wait for the event. That Philly crowd's going to be fucking hot, electric.
And blow the roof off.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Well, we got one more thing before we get out of here, and you know what that thing is. It's time to give our reviews of this beer of the week. So, from the Playalinda Brewing Company, it's the Pleasure Chest IPA. Obi, what did you think, good sir?
I think this is just a good old IPA, and I really love it for that. They're right about the juiciness. They're right about the hoppiness. I do agree it's a very well balanced beer, and it has just enough of that sweetness to it that keeps it from being too harsh, but also enough of that IPA kick on your tongue. I really like it. I'm gonna give it a five out of 5 of 6. 5 out of 6.
5 out of 5.
Yeah.
All right. I'll rock with you, son. I think I'm gonna probably give it a 4.5.
Okay.
A 4.5. It is very, very just a juicy. I think maybe I'm losing the taste for juicy IPAs. Super citrusy, hoppy.
They've been overplayed.
I think so.
Yeah, agreed.
And not to say that this one tastes bad, but I'm like, the Pleasure Chest, the whole thing is enjoy on the beach and chill out. And I'm like, this is not what I want when I'm on the beach chilling out. I want a crispy.
It's not as crushable as you might think.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
But at a bar,
flavorful though.
At a bar,
pour this in a glass.
I would go out for that one.
I would drink this again.
Yeah.
I would drink this again. I would recommend this.
Yeah.
4.5 is not a bad score. I don't
No,
know
not
why
at all.
every time I go below a 5, I feel like I have to quantify it. But
You don't have to do that.
yeah.
Too nice. Too nice.
Yeah. So a 4.5 for myself and a 5 for you, good sir.
That's right.
You think we got it?
I know we got it.
Well, if Obi says we got it, then that's it for this week's episode. My name is Marco Duba. That's Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yeah,
This
buddy.
has been the One Beer In Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer and have yourself a beautiful week.
We love you.